president of Blizzard called me out. Now, Max, a lot of you guys, of course, know Limit Maximum, was watching my video of Vinruki. And Quick, who is the president of Blizzard, called me out.
Quick, the president of Blizzard in chat. The problem is he can't do Mythic or Heroic successfully. Oh my god. I mean, kind of true. I've only seen him do like normal raids when it comes out, and then he just like stops playing. When I hear Asmon talk a lot about retail, there's a few talking points he has where it
I mean, obviously he can, he just chooses not to, right?
It's like he just said them at one point, and his extremely doomer audience is going to true everything he says. And if you just have 50,000 people true you too many times, you just start really, really being confident in your bad takes about a game that you barely play. And that's what this sounds like. I mean, Quick said it the dirty way, but yeah, I mean, I need to hear the actual take.
Is that it? Because I want to make sure that I don't just like go off half-cocked. Is that it? Okay, all right, watch the full. Oh, I cannot watch the whole thing. It's gonna take forever. That's it. Okay, let's begin. I think that if you don't play the game at all, you do become out of touch. However, I think that if you play it all the time, you also become out of touch. And the truth is that
that's a good take, actually.
If your job is playing the game,
a lot of people just only play WoW, and they're in this like box, and they can't think outside of it. And like that's why when we first went to Final Fantasy, we were like, "Wait, hold the phone, dude." There's, you know, there are these systems that we are looking for in other games, completely implemented, completely working fine. Everybody enjoys them. And
you will never understand an average player.
WoW players don't understand it.
Because they don't play the game as a job. And that's okay. That just makes sense. I think he's right. I don't understand the average player any better than anybody else does. I'm just putting my opinion out there. But the numbers, the data of how many people are clearing these raids is low. And it has continued to get lower every single fucking patch. Look at Sepulcher. Look at how much damage that did to the game. That's why nobody cleared the raid. It was one of the lowest clears ever. And yes, obviously...
What was his initial take even, chat? Because I don't have the... Like, I don't know what happened before this. What are they even reacting to? Why are they saying he's out of touch?
I think a percentage of that is because the jailer didn't drop anything good, for sure. But even then, I think that a lot of these things are harmful, and it's not like, I mean, how many... I'm gonna give a few different examples. Gavel, oh yeah, there were a few good things from jailer, but like, I mean, there's not like tier sets, right? In the same way that there used to be, right? So... From Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm, there was like a dramatic difficulty increase. Like, I would say tier 11 was like twice as hard as ICC, especially with the 30% buff.
That was what Roger was saying as well. Cataclysm is the first hard tier. Not sure if it's true, but that's what he's saying.
Tier 11 was fucking brutal. And I remember back in my, I played on Kel'Thuzad back then. And how many of you guys all the time in Wrath of the Lich King, like original Wrath, saw GDKPs and pugs for ICC 25-man, 25-man heroic, 10-man heroic, going all the time, constantly in trade chat. Yeah, I saw them constantly. I didn't, maybe you were on a small server, but on Kel'Thuzad was a pretty big server. And so there were a lot of people that were doing the raids.
True.
And whenever
but I think the big thing is also, okay, Cataclysm, I don't know, but big thing is also, M Plus is also taking away a lot of the incentive to do raids, right? It's like this alternative thing that's just way easier to coordinate and do and stuff, and people just go for it. I think that took away the most probably from raiding.
Cataclysm came out, all that stuff died. And all the people that I used to do GDKPs with and I used to raid with, all those people either quit the game or they just weren't, they had to like join like a super serious guild or they couldn't play. Kata was way too fucking hard. And it happened then. And I also don't think, and the subs went way down. And yes, obviously I think a lot of that's because of like, you know, like killing the Lich King. It's like the, you know, it's like the logical ending of World of Warcraft, right? You beat the Lich King, the world is saved. Obviously it's not the case, you understand the lore, but like from most of the people's perspective, like, yeah, sure. I think there's a lot of reasons for it, sure. And like Cataclysm didn't have as much hype as Wrath, etc, etc, etc. But the point is that a lot of people quit the game after Cataclysm. And I think a big reason for that is because the raids just got too hard. The raids got way too hard, way too punishing. And if the raids also, and I don't really think this is a great argument, because I think people would have done this already, but I think that definitely the difficulty acted as a force multiplier, that's whenever add-ons started getting really crazy. That's whenever people started developing like all kinds of like different like fucking UIs and shit like that. That's whenever things got way more customized. And I think the reason for that is because that's whenever the raids got a lot harder. And so the players adapted by making better add-ons. But I also don't so the point is that I think the player drop from Wrath of the Lich King to Cataclysm was in part because of the difficulty of the game, and I think at that point the game became too difficult for average players. How do I know that? I have a personal experience. My mom played Wrath. By the time Cataclysm came out, she said, fuck that, I'm not going to raid anymore. It was too hard. Straight up, it's too hard. And so anyway, there's number one. Number one is that. Number two is this. I do not think that it is a coincidence that Classic Hardcore popped off at the exact same time that Ulduar came out. I don't know. I just think it's just very interesting how that happened. The truth is that
is Ulduar like the heart rate in Wrath, and actually like are people doing less Ulduar than the previous raids, guys? Because from what I always heard is that Ulduar is like one of the best raids ever. I didn't do all of Ulduar. I did like 6-7 bosses or something when I was like when it was, you know, when that was the retail back in the days, and it was fun. But indeed, I couldn't finish it. But I don't have like any bad memories of it or something like that. And I would expect, because people liked it so much and always sweet talked it, I would expect that the Wrath servers would actually go crazy when Ulduar comes out. But as I was saying, with Ulduar, people actually stopped playing Wrath.
And also look at Sepulchre too, right? Sepulchre was insanely hard, and people didn't do it, and they hated it. I think that, like, in terms of rating, I think that Quick is, like, you know, Mike Ibarra, president of Blizzard. By the way, guys, I want to say one thing. Everybody that's going out, like, you can defend me, say whatever you want, but, like, don't take this, I don't take this personally. Bro, like, I don't care. I'm not getting my fucking feelings hurt about this. I talk shit about the game all the time. What the fuck? I don't care. I'm not gonna get my feelings hurt over this. It's just an opinion. Yeah, who gives a fuck? I'm not mad about this. But anyway, I just want to make sure you guys, you don't have to go out and defend my honor. You know, but I do think that I'm right. And I think that every bit of observable evidence that exists proves that I'm right. It proves this correlation. I do. I think that every single bit of evidence proves this correlation. And if somebody has evidence that disproves it, please present it. I would like to see it. This raid tier is pretty easy, though. What, compared to the previous retail raid tiers? That doesn't really make a good comparison, does it?
You say Naxos piss easier and just burned the heck out before Ulduar. So it's not that people stopped because of Ulduar, it was because they were just sick of Wrath. I mean, it is expected that, you know, some players will stop after the expansion, like in WoW as well. When the first tier comes out, people will be a lot more active than on the second tier. Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, the point is that you sound like Trump. Oh, Trump would never talk about evidence. I get that you don't care, but pretty low-tier dev shit to be trash-talking major streamer, never mind as the CEO. They're not trash-talking. I trash-talk the game all the time. I said the game's for furries and femboys constantly. You think they can't say that I'm bad at the game? Get the fuck out of here. It's totally fine. I'm not gonna cry about this. What's wrong? No, it's totally fine. It's not.
It is a bit weird though. He says it's fine, but it is kind of fucking dumb. Like, you can't say that he can't do heroic. Like, you would have to be mentally challenged to not be able to defeat heroic. Obviously, he can do heroic. It's just that he doesn't want to. It's too annoying for me. Maybe you can say he can't do it because it's just so not fun for him. I mean, it's clearly a joke. But I mean, don't you think that you shouldn't say that though? If you're the president of the company, like, I don't know, bro. It is a bit weird. Obviously, he can say it, but I don't think he should.
It's not a big deal. Like, I have a positive. Like, I like Mike Ibarra. It's not like I hate the dude and it's like some kind of like a big thing. It sounds like Max. I like Max. So I don't take it personally in the same way because it's from somebody that I know. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Anyway, so I'll go back to why I quit raiding. I quit raiding for 2 reasons. Number 1, my stream. That was the main reason why I stopped raiding. It had nothing to do with the raid. I would have sat there and fucking wiped day after day, week after week, and it would have been no big deal. But I quit for my stream because I could see that my stream, like I was streaming for 4
Makes
hours,
sense.
the raid every 4 hours, and at that point I was the guild master and I had kind of had that role put on me, and I had like kind of found a way to disperse that responsibility, but at the same time I still had to do like officer meeting after stream, and I had to mute like the stream and I had to mute my own voice. And it was just a really bad stream experience and people didn't like it. So I
can confirm, yeah. I mean, you guys see me during the race as well, how often I'm muted, but even without, even as a raider, streaming the raids isn't that good viewership. It's like talking to your stream, reacting, just memeing around is just way better viewership, so that makes fully sense.
Stopped raiding primarily because of my stream. I thought that it wasn't good stream content. I thought that it was, damaging for my stream. My viewers were bored, and it was annoying to play. Like, it wasn't, like, super fun. Like, Mythic Tomb of Sargeras definitely made it easier. But, the truth is that if I wasn't streaming, I probably still would have raided. Would I have stopped since then? I don't know. It's like 7 years ago. What could have happened in 7 years, right? I don't know. So that's the real reason why I quit. And, the reason why I don't raid now is the same reason. It's because I don't really have a lot of time to raid, and it's not even that I don't have time, it's that I don't want to invest that time into something that I feel like isn't fulfilling and it's not rewarding. Now, why do I feel like raiding isn't rewarding? The reason why is because every raid tier that comes out, all of my gear that I work towards gets invalidated completely, and then new gear comes out that's easy to get, that's better than my old gear that I worked really hard for. So basically every 4 months or 5 months, 6 months, whenever it's a raid tier comes out or a season comes out, as they say now, all of my progress gets reset. And like I have to do the same thing over again.
It's not all, but
in order to get a recolor of like a seasonal keystone mount or something like that. Now, to be fair, the gladiator mounts are great, and I really like the new gladiator mounts. They're awesome. But, I mean, nobody even cares enough to do it. That's why the ladder is, like, dead. So, that's kind of one of the other big reasons, is I feel like, for example, I felt like there was a compelling reason for me to want to raid BWL, or a compelling reason for me to want to raid AQ40, because Nax was going to come out. And fuck, there was a compelling reason for me to raid Nax, because Tier 3 was good in Karazhan. But why would I go and raid, what's the new raid? The fucking Vault of the Incarnates, or no, I think that's the last one, whatever it is. Abaris. Why would I go and raid Abaris whenever the next expansion or next patch is going to come out and make Abaris irrelevant? Why would I waste my time doing that? So that's the main reason why I don't raid. It's because I feel like you're building a castle on sand that erodes every 6 months. So, and there's no lasting progression to it. I also don't raid because I don't find it fun. Now, why is raiding not fun? Well, let's talk about it. Why is rating?
I think that's the main reason. Like, I don't necessarily agree with the thing mattering too much that your progress resets. I mean, it doesn't reset instantly, first of all. The first weeks, you will still want the gear from the previous time. I do think it is resetting too much, yes. I think it would be better if the eye level increase per tier wouldn't be this like crazy, right? That even heroic rate gear is like better than your current mythic. The fact that you get equal, that your current gear becomes equal to the new normal rate gear, and in most cases even worse than the normal rate gear when it comes to trinkets and tier sets, it is kind of bad. But the main issue is, why is rating not fun for him? And I'm curious to see.
Not fun.
I do think rating is fun though.
Runbacks. Needing a warlock to summon. Buffs. Rebuffs. Too much trash.
I mean, this is the same thing for vanilla as well though.
So, these right here are structural problems that I have with rating. And all of this kind of falls under the same kind of,
Oops, sorry guys.
the same umbrella as too much downtime. There is too much downtime in rating. Like,
But
if
this
you
is
go
literally
and you
the
watch
opposite of classic, and I mean, he likes classic, so I don't really think that this is the main thing. I think I would say maybe like raid assignments and stuff is just like too many assignments you got to do and things like that might be boring for him. I don't know how it is in classic. It might be a lot harder in retail when it comes to that. Raid from graveyard, not an issue in a hardcore, to be fair. True. For her hardcore, the runbacks don't really exist. It's so ass after you play Final Fantasy. It isn't good. I do agree it's not good. And it is weird that, I mean, at this point, I don't know if low guilds do that, like low rank guilds, but we just always soulstone the healer. The healer will soulstone and masters all of us. I mean, is this really necessary? I don't think so. You could just release and respawn at the boss room. I don't think it's a big deal. You still have enough downtime eating food, summoning pets, placing gateways, buffing everyone up, and then ready checking. And then probably also talking about what went wrong in the try. It's not necessary. I don't think it's just a big thing, like why raiding in WoW is not fun. I don't think so personally. Well, let's see what else he has to say.
And like, if you have like a super organized, you're proving his point. Well, how though? Like, because I also like, if somebody thinks that I'm wrong about any of this, please, I'd like to hear why. I agree with too much trash. It serves no purpose. Yeah, it's just too much. It's annoying. Yukuri didn't play Ragnarok or Lineage 2 if you're complaining about needing specific classes. Well, you're right. I didn't. That's because I thought those games were bad. So if there's an element of that game that's in a game that I like, I would also think it's bad. Nobody plays Lineage or Ragnarok now. They're dead games. Nobody cares about them. So
I don't know what that game is.
I don't want to have that happen to WoW. That's my point. So it doesn't matter like how good of a raid team you are, you still need a warlock if you want to summon somebody. It doesn't matter how good of a raid team you are, you still have to do the rebuffs. It doesn't matter how good of a raid team you are, you still have to do the trash. It doesn't matter how good of a raid team you are, you still have to run back. And I mean, unless like obviously you have like res protection. But like, why does the res protection meta exist?
What is the res protection?
Why is this meta game? Why is it still in the game? It's a waste of time. You also need a bunch of add-ons. Yeah.
See, that is, I think he's just rambling here, honestly. I think he just put these here. He's just freestyling this, and these are not the actual reasons why he doesn't like raiding in WoW. I mean, too much trash. Like, I mean, okay, so it's not maybe great when you do many runs in a row, but generally this is completely fine. There's actually not that much trash in retail currently. It's more about, in my opinion at least. Okay, I don't know. Obviously, maybe this is what he is bothered by. I don't think so though. I think it's about things like getting your UI set up and downloading a million programs to make it work and sitting there and make sure that everything is lined up perfectly and not overlapping. I think that sucks. It's just really shit. It will drive casual players like him. I mean, he's not a casual player necessarily even, but people that want to try out raiding, like people that would want to raid casually, completely away, they will get driven away by things like that. And it even drives me away of doing content. I want to do PvP, right? I enjoy PvP, but getting my setup for PvP done, that's gonna cost me years, bro. And I have a UI already that is functioning for raiding. But I have to think of the exceptions. I need to change my keybinds depending on the things. I'll have different keybinds in raiding. I'll get new spells. Need to find keybinds for those. Need to get new add-ons. Need to make sure nothing overlaps of the new spells that now interact differently, that now work differently in PvP. That's why I don't do it. If I could just go in PvP and would have everything set up and my master memories built up, I would definitely play a lot more PvP. But no can do. And I think it's a similar thing for raiding. But of course, his reason might be different, but I think that is one of the bigger things.
And so, yeah, eating food. Yes, having to eat food every single attempt. There needs to be a consequence for wiping. There is. You wiped. There's not I find comments like that to be so brain dead because, like, for example, the Omega Protocol, or whatever the fuck it is in Final Fantasy, is probably harder than Mythic Sarkareth. Like, it's,
a lot harder. Wait, not probably harder. It is a lot harder. I've done it. I've done both fights. There is no way I would survive TOP on my first attempt. But on Sarkareth, I'd managed to, So, and we killed it. So, yeah, not a chance.
It's the new ultimate raid in Final Fantasy. It's probably harder than Mythic Sarkareth. And there are no runbacks, you don't need warlocks, you don't need to rebuff, and there's no trash. So whenever there's a fight that's harder than anything that exists in World of Warcraft in another game that doesn't have any of these problems, would you say that the people that did the harder fight didn't earn it because they didn't have to run back and summon the people into a group with a warlock? Of course not. It's ridiculous. Well, you lost time, that's a punishment. Yes, exactly, it is. And so, those are the reasons why I don't find raiding fun on a structural level. Now, this is on a personal level, okay? And why I don't raid. And also why it's not fun. I don't like feeling like I have to download a lot of add-ons.
So he thought about it, and these are the biggest things, I think. It's true. It's
annoying.
Yeah.
I don't want to do
No wonder we could guess it.
That's really it. I don't want to do it. It's annoying.
Fully understandable. Yeah.
I think visibility in raids is garbage.
Visibility in raids. Oh yeah.
It's hard to see things.
The immersion is just dead. Yeah. There's too many things coming, happening. I can show and this is sometimes self-inflicted, right? If you don't use any add-ons, the visibility is going to be a lot better than if you do sometimes. But sometimes, without the add-ons, you can't play it. I can show a clip of our last raid where I got mind controlled, and then my screen is just full with garbage. Hold up, there. Look at my screen, bro. What the fuck is happening right now? Look at this. What the fuck is going on? Yes, am I AoEing all of my friends? Obviously, but what the hell is actually happening? It is way too crazy, I think. I can't see my own character. It's just way too wild. Like if you sit in a cockpit, yeah, the visibility is garbage. I can confirm that is true.
And it's harder because of more people.
That is true.
Add-ons is because of the community, though, not because...
I do enjoy I personally am a big enjoyer of 20-man raids. In fact, if there were 40-man raids, I would enjoy that even more. Would that bring its own problems and a lot of difficulties? Yes. All of the stuff that will, happen when you try to manage all of these people, replace them. Sometimes they'll miss raids, they'll have personal issues and leave and all of that stuff. Like, you'll have to deal with all of that. I think that's worth. I think it's super fun to be more people. I really like it. I also do like 10-man content. I had one of the best times of my life raiding 10-man. That's also fine. But I mean, why not? Why don't we have just both? Just do both. Maybe not every content. If it's like a problem of tuning the bosses for both modes, that could be hard. Yes, I understand that. Well, then release one raid for 10-man and one raid for 25-man and then one raid for 40-man. Who cares? I mean, I don't see the big problem personally. That would be fun for me. They cannot tune one raid. True. But I mean, that's a separate problem.
Because of WoW? Well, WoW allows the add-ons, right? And so, like, it is because of WoW. And also, like, these are
of
also...
course.
I'm not blaming, like, the developers. I'm not saying the developers... Actually, I mean, with the visibility, I do blame the developers. I think that, like, for example, Kel'Thuzad in Sanctum of Domination, like, you shouldn't have white swirlies under a white-blue background. Like, it's just bad. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. So, the mechanic they use over and over again? No, I think that's fine.
I think the idea is, otherwise it looks really weird when it's like a color that is sticking out too much. It's supposed to fit the theme. So it's like a frosty room where frost abilities are cast and they're frost color, I think I do hear a lot of people criticizing things like this, but yeah, I mean, it helps with the immersion of the game a little bit as well, though. But yeah, sometimes it can be a little off and they change stuff after as well, but I generally don't think that part is bad. Like the coloring of it, just sometimes things are not visible at all, what is supposed to be done, Like a player will explode with a bomb, but you don't see anything on him. There's no visual, feedback of anything happening, and you just die. Like sometimes, it's not always the case. Like for example, the hearts on the Neltharion boss. It's you see the big circle. I do think it's too many bombs, and maybe too big and stuff, but you do see them at least, right? Yeah.
Raid designers say that they design bosses with add-ons in mind. Well, of course they do. Also, let's see. Hard to recover from mistakes. One mistake equals wipe. Stuff like that I don't really find very fun.
I fully agree on that one. I mean, sometimes it is what it is, but things like Armageddon and Kill Jaden or Goon dropping the ball, like especially if it's like 0 or 1, like you either fully fail and it's over, or you have done it and it's like easy peasy. I don't know. It's a bit weird. That's why I really like Jaina, for example, where somebody can get frozen, but you can break him out again. When you go too far away from the group, you have 4 seconds to get back. And it's not just you're too far from the group, you're frozen now, done, or you're dead now. Like you actually have a way to recover from it by playing even better. I think that this is like a really, really important thing, actually, that when there is a mistake in the raid, that you can recover from that by playing really good right after. And this is like a big thing, for example, in PvP. Sometimes you can even turn it into a bait in PvP, right? Like somebody's almost dying, and then that distracts the enemy, and you can do some plays like that. In PvE, you can't, of course, bait the NPCs, but just by playing even better. For example, in my intro, you guys all know the grip, ice block into grip, right? Like we know Phil doesn't have gateway, so he will need some other way, and you can outplay it with this blink, ice block, life grip. I love this kind of shit. I live for that. Or like, somebody dies, we res him, and then we do something about it and fix the problem. I think that is what makes raiding super, super exciting. And otherwise, somebody fails in your group, and you're like, well, I can't do anything about it. He failed. Let's wipe then. And this is a lot less enjoyable, because you can't help your friends in any shape or form, and it's just single person responsibility. I think it's something that Final Fantasy does not do that good often. Actually, it is something that, especially in the Ultimates, there's often no way for recovery for any single mistake. And I think this is not that good. But sometimes there is, and it's quite nice. Do you feel like Ibarra spit out of line talking shit to Adam? Oh yeah, I absolutely think so. I mean, I don't think it's a way. If let's say, if Max said that about Asron, who cares? He's a streamer, whatever. But if Mike Ibarra says it, like, bro, come on, you're the president of Blizzard, man. Like, you can't. He shouldn't talk about any player like that. Almost like, I don't know. It's weird. Shouldn't Mythic be about no mistakes? No, we do tons of mistakes every pull. No mistakes is just not possible. Perfect humans just don't exist. Otherwise, we don't clear any bosses. There will be always like thousands of mistakes every mythic pull. Thousands in your rotation, in your movement, like the pixel stacking. There's thousands of mistakes, but some of them shouldn't be that punishing, of course, and some of them should be recoverable from by playing even better. But there's no way of recovery, even if. Like, let's say one player plays bad, right? He fucked something up. If everybody else in the raid, like, plays out of their minds, they still cannot recover from that mistake. I mean, sometimes it's okay to have these things, but sometimes it's just too much. For example, Kill Jane, Armageddon, too much. If I think about the last raid, let's see, is there a boss like that? I don't think so. I think the last raid was pretty good when it comes to that. I mean, one mistake will lead to wipes sometimes, but it's not just like this 1 or 0. Like, you have to stand in with the heart, for example, right? I stand in with the group in this, and then we all wipe, obviously. But people can call me out to move out. It's a long way to get here. Like, I can't just be standing in the group. Like, it's not just like one step whether I stand here or here. That would be very bad. But if it relied on that, Anduin. Oh yeah, Sepulchre, there was a lot. Sepulchre, there was a lot of these. A jailer with the bombs, somebody doesn't fall in exactly at the perfect time and blows the whole raid up and stuff. Sepulchre was really bad when it comes to. I'm just thinking last raid. I guess there's the void bomb if people don't go in on time. Yeah, Sarkareth void bomb was kind of a bit like that. Yeah, but again, you have a lot of leeway. It's not like this super precise moment and stuff like that. I didn't like the whole ability in Sarkareth. If somebody drops a puncture in a bad spot and then everybody needs to like dodge it, but still you can do some plays and dodge it actually and stuff like that. So I wouldn't put it on the same level as Kil'jaeden. I do think they are trying to not design the game like that in general either. From the past knowledge, they know it's a boring way to play the game.
I don't know if the new raid has a lot of this or not. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't have that much, but Sarkareth has some.
Play it and find out. I think there was like one thing with that with Sarkareth. I don't remember. Not really. You can recover from in Sarkareth Mythic a lot. Nelth is one mistake, one wipe type of boss. Well, you also have to keep in mind that like the guilds that can recover from mistakes like that are probably guilds that have already killed the boss. But I don't know. I'd have to look and see for it myself. But I think that's generally the case. Oh yeah, Mythic raid lockouts. This is also a structural problem. Mythic raid lockouts are stupid and vestigial. They are a old system that used to make sense 10 years ago, and now they do not. They have no purpose. They have no value. They add nothing to the game.
I think a lot of the... I might agree. I don't know if they add any value. I think a lot of the things that Blizzard doesn't change. They simply don't change because they don't know if the alternative could be worse. They're scared of just doing changes because you generally just don't change stuff that you don't need to change. If it works, why bother changing it? I think that's why they don't do changes to the runbacks, for example. They don't know what exactly the impact would be. And I don't think anyone knows. Maybe this will lead to something that they don't enjoy in the end. That players feel like, oh, we're pulling too quick and I'm getting tired. Like, there's so many aspects to this. I think they're just trying to be really careful not to change the wrong thing. But yeah, I would prefer them changing things a lot more often and just trying shit and just, throwing shit at the wall, see what sticks kind of way. But Blizzard isn't working like that since a long, long time. They are very afraid of trying new things out, is my feeling. Otherwise, they would have done so many other things, as you may have noticed, since basically Legion, we're following the same blueprint every expansion. It's the same cycles, it's the same thing all the time, with very minor changes.
And all they do
now they have to change because the same formula isn't working. I don't know how much it is not working for them. Maybe they are making more money from microtransactions now that it doesn't matter that there's less people left. I don't know. I mean, they are pooping WoW tokens left, right, center. Not sure, man. I think it's really hard to tell from the outside what is working, what is not. Maybe they were able to cut so many developers thanks to not having to develop anything, new. That it is somehow worth for them. I don't know. They removed all the guild masters and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it is worth. It's hard to tell. Orphans and Islands were the last big test, if you ask me. Yeah, they were like really weirdly done. If you remember, they just put like crazy rewards for them and forced us into doing them, and people did not like it. Right? I don't know. Like back then, we would have like a random one boss raid spawning and stuff, and I don't know. You have the PvP raids that drop PvP loot and stuff that is also gone. Although they did do that twice, I think, for Vault of Archivon and then the one in Cataclysm as well. It's just like new things would happen. I don't think they happen as much anymore. The Covenant system was an interesting test, but I mean, everybody told them that it was really bad and they still went with it as well. Like, that was really odd as well, right? Like, the whole community is telling you, Covenants, unswappable, really bad idea, really, really bad idea. And they just like, no, it's good. And they just went with it and stuck with it for the whole expansion until the very last patch. Crazy, bro. I don't know. I mean, who's out of touch with their game, Is it Asmon or is it Blizzard themselves?
Do is serve to make things more complicated, to make it harder for people to play together. Oh, also another thing, no X Realm Mythic raiding on day one.
The no-brainer, yeah, should be in. Agreed.
So yeah, I'd want to raid on day one on Mythic. Why can't I do that? Like, please give me one good reason why you shouldn't be able to Mythic raid on day one of the raid.
They want to do... can you even... Yeah, you can do it outside of the guild. I think they want guilds to matter. I think that is my main guess. But guilds will automatically matter because, people want to play in good environments, and guilds generally are more structured than pugs, so it will automatically be good. And I guess it could be that no external, because of server transfers. They might like the fact that people are transferring servers and paying money for it. I'm not sure. It really sounds like it should be a really small amount of money that wouldn't be worth it to put this restriction on players just to make money from that. But that's my only guess. I mean, servers don't matter since ages now. It's not like everybody knows this, crazy Taylor in your server and the Holy Paladin that is like crazy good or whatever. Like those times have ended. Cross realm, everything. I don't know. This is really odd as well to me.
There's no reason. Because world first, who cares? This raid tier had day 1 mythic. If this raid tier had day 1 mythic, then this is what Max is saying, right? And there are some things that I'm a little bit out of touch with, and I haven't played the game a lot recently. So like maybe they did fix this. So like this definitely is we didn't have cross realm day 1, it took 2 months. Well then why would somebody say that we did? What? Why would somebody say that? I feel like all this was in the game before when you loved it. What
viewers?
changed?
Twitch chat, classic.
I had less of a value of my time. I placed less of a value on my time.
I mean, obviously, guys, Asmongold per hour is probably making like, I don't know, crazy amounts, bro. Like his per hour rate, I don't know, maybe $3,000, $4,000 or something. I don't know, just fully randomly thinking of it. It could be way more. But obviously, he doesn't want to waste his time, right? He just wants to do stuff that he actually enjoys. You can do a lot of stuff with that money that you can just enjoy.
Like, I didn't mind doing this because I had nothing better to do. But now I do have things that are better to do, and I don't want to do that.
But that's not the fault of the game either. If the game stays the same and your time is more valued, I mean, it is what it is, right?
It's that simple. There's so many other options, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that what they meant was that there were a mythic raid that came out on day 1, but not cross realm. I understand.
Oh no, Heroic Week. Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole topic for itself, dude.
Stand now. You also raided in Final Fantasy 14? Yes. These are the main reasons why I don't like raiding, though. Like, just structural reasons that make it not fun to play. Like, whenever I do a raid, every time that we wipe, I'm always thinking about how much time I'm wasting waiting to pull again. And the reason why I have that dichotomy in my mind is because I played Final Fantasy and Lost Ark. And Lost Ark and Final Fantasy don't have systems like that waste your time, and World of Warcraft does. Would you honestly raid, though, if these things changed? I would probably do it more. I think that the real reason why I don't raid, personally, is because there's no reason to, because my gear gets reset all the time. Like, I don't feel like I need to catch up and stay, like, on pace with everybody else, because I just know everybody's going to get reset in, like, 6 months, and it doesn't matter. I think the main problem is number of players.
That is true. I didn't think of a WoW version where the gear that you take is relevant across the whole expansion, at least. That is something I should consider when giving feedback to Blizzard as well. The thing is, this is generally something we don't want because of things like having to get that gear on like 7 mages, because the next year gear is still super relevant and it is RNG, and you want to have multiple classes, and now you not only have to gear 1 mage with the crazy items from this tier, you have to, or from all tiers from the expansion, you have to do it from you have to do it on all 7 mages. That is not fun at all. But if you had to do that on 2 or 3 different classes that are your main and main alts, that would actually be super, super fun. Trash is such a relic of the past of raiding, or at least reduce it by 80 to 90%. I don't know what I think of Trash. I don't mind it too much, I think. But only for the first playthrough, I think. Or maybe for hero. Yeah, I think only for the first playthrough, and then you should have a skip to every boss, I think. Something like that. Trash can be a story tool. That's why I like it for the first time, Masukisti. Yeah, for the first time, it might be good. Because it does add to the immersion of this whole big thing happening. I can see people enjoying it. It's not necessarily something for me, but I'm trying to think of this objectively, and I can see people enjoying that feeling, and it adds to that feeling. of you being immersed into this massive raid or this castle or whatever you're entering. But doing it every week, like after week 10, you no longer need that immersion. If you're playing and you're week 10 into the raid and you're still clearing the first trash in front of first boss, I mean, you're done with that. You're not the type of gamer anymore that's doing it for the story. You're in there to just smack some bosses and get some loot, you know?
Players and guild recruitment? Oh, yeah, yeah. Now, if it was up to me, I would want to make raids either, like, make Mythic, like, 10-man, or make raids 40-man again and make them a lot easier.
That's what I'm saying. Or do both, right? You could have 40-man raids that are slightly easier, that it is actually doable with 40 people, and then you can have 10-man raids that are harder, obviously, because otherwise this will be too easy. I think that would be, like, just have both. Why not both, bro? I think the idea of making loot relevant, or at least the length of one expansion, is huge. That would really be great change for me. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it is the problem is then that it's just a race for first problem then, that it really sucks if you have multiple characters. But yeah, I do agree, it would be better. I don't know why they don't do it. Maybe it is too hard to catch up to the old gear, and like they want returning players to have an easier time to return. But I mean, you could balance it so that the old gear is not like a requirement for the new tier, but it is just slightly better, so that your efforts are actually like, you're like just pogging around, right? Like, but and the new returning players, they can do some M+, and they can get a similar trinket of the same level. If they really want to get the BIS, they can go and clear the old raid. I think that could be better. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how. I will think about that more though. I never considered this too much. Because it kind of sucks for the race to war first, but it sucks because of different reasons. It sucks because we're playing 7 of the same class. If we don't, we wouldn't have to, because of other changes that would also be implemented, then this would be actually quite pop, because we all have the good gear, right? For us, it would be great. And it would be potentially a cool, a cooler way to tell a story about the expansion as well. I don't know. If you kill a big raid boss and you have this crazy gear, it makes sense that it is good in the next battle you go into, right? It doesn't get replaced by normal raid gear of the next tier that you just go and slap every boss, with your backhand. Like, it does make sense, yeah. I will think more about that. Split runs and generally loot, it is a very complicated topic, and yeah, hard to rush into conclusions there.
Now, why is that? Well, it's because I think it's pretty cool whenever you get 40 people together, and it looks cool having...
It does look cool. Yeah, I love 40 people together, bro. Requires balancing for sure. It would require more careful look at items, and that new rate will drop. But I guess that's overall a positive change, just a little bit more effort for Blizzard. Yeah. And I mean, you could do some... I mean, they're already making the items kind of balanced. Like, they have to balance them regardless a little bit. And you could do something like you implementing... Like, if it's an issue of eye level, right? You could do it so that you can increase the eye level of your previous item now with the new patch. You get some sort of upgrade stone or something, to make it work. Or just... don't increase the eye level in the next tier. Just keep it the same eye level. Just slightly different items, different flavor, situational items. That's how horizontal itemization is done, right? Or horizontal power, or whatever it's called. I don't know what the term is. Like it was too, yeah. You could do something like that as well, yeah.
Having like a big group of people doing a raid. That's the reason. That's literally it. I think it's cool, like, whenever you do, like, Classic WoW and, like, there's everybody there and it's, like, an actual fucking, raid of people rather than just, like, a group. Yeah, it's a sense... And like, I don't know, like, there's not... like organize that shit? Yeah, but like it would be easier to organize if you didn't have to hyper vet every single person through 17 different add-ons and 5 different levels of experience, because there's like 7 different fucking debuffs that you can get in the raid that will wipe the whole raid if you don't know what to do with them. So I actually think that the reason, so the harder, and this is very, very simple logic, right? Is that the harder that you punish players, the harder players will try to not be punished. What does that mean in terms of raiding? It means that because the raids are extremely punishing, players are even more gatekeepy than they would be naturally, because they don't want to get killed by somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. This is what's happened with Lost Ark too.
It's true, but at the same time, I don't know if I agree with the fact that easier raids would just solve every issue in WoW. I think the fact that raids are hard is also what is making them special sometimes. There is of course, the sweet spot there, and Sepulchre was not it, I think. It was fun for me, but I do see objectively that it is probably not fun for the general community of World of Warcraft. Like something like Halondros, like especially pre-nerf. That is not something you should release for the public. That is a bit scuffed. But I don't think classic raids. I mean, I haven't done them, but I heard that they're really easy. I've seen some. I've watched Joker do them. I don't understand anything. I've seen him on hardcore kill 2 bosses in a row, and he just went there and just hit the boss. That's what I saw. I don't know if there was any tactic to it. It didn't seem hard though. It didn't take very long either. I'm guessing it's not very hard. I don't think that's necessarily the right approach either. So there needs to be a sweet spot. And then I'm also completely fine with a mode existing for the people that are going for the challenge, like a challenge mode, right? In like the dungeons back then. And then people who just want to play the game. If they both get the same gear, I think that's completely fine. I don't see the big problem. I'm also okay with the harder difficulty dropping the better gear, but I don't know what's the best there, honestly. I'm fine with most though. For me personally, I don't give a shit. But as long as there is a hard difficulty, because otherwise, if it's just super easy, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna. Like, I would probably not focus on rating as a player, right? Ignore Echo, ignore everything. I'll probably be doing something that's more challenging. So it would be probably Arena or M+. I wouldn't do rating seriously, because there's nothing to do seriously if it's easy, right? Classic WoW boss is mostly about keeping your tanks alive and pulling the boss correctly. That's a huge step up compared to Molten Core. Molten Core is just a placeholder raid agenda. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Nax raids would be a good balance. I don't know. See Scripe as a Herber / miner main. Now, bro, I am playing hardcore, guys. Okay, I'm locked out. But I am a miner engineer, okay? Just letting you know.
Difficulty does not make a game fun, it makes it unfun. Difficulty and fun are 2 different spectrums. Like, game can make a game fun, it makes it unfun. Difficulty and fun are 2 different spectrums. Like, a game can be very difficult and it can be very fun, and a game can be very easy and it can be very fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I mean, it's really common sense.
I do think if a game is really, like, if a game is too easy, it won't be fun though. And if a game is too hard, it also won't be fun. It does influence fun. They're not like completely unrelated things. Obviously, kind of, right?
The harder the game punishes failure, the harder players punish each other, leading to toxicity. Yeah, and also the harder players try to...
So a game can be fun and too easy. I mean, it depends on what you define as too easy. If we are going in the easiness spectrum, if you're going to the way to the bottom, okay, to 0 difficulty, nothing, then at some point you reach a game where you're not playing anything. right? So eventually it's not fun, I would guess. If that's fun to you, it's kind of weird. If you're just waiting, you're just going in front of your screen and the game plays itself and you don't do any decisions because decisions would be some sort of difficulty, then eventually it's not going to be fun, I'm guessing. I don't even know if you can like define that as a game almost. There is, of course, an amount of difficulty that needs to exist for a game to be a game and for it to be somewhat fun, I think.
By avoiding certain cases of that happening. So, but can't you dynamically choose to play with 10 players on the highest raid difficulty? No, you can't. And also, here's another thing, right? Is that I do think that mythic raids are too hard now. I do. I think they're too hard.
I agree.
And I can do them. Of course I can do them. Sure. But I'm not an average...
Okay, to be funny, it even sounds like he doesn't believe in it, but yes, he could do them. I agree as well.
Player. Like, I played the game for 15 years, or more than that now. I played the game for fucking 18 years. You guys can cap it all. I mean, it's not like it takes, like, some sort of, like, divine level of skill, right? To be able to just hit your buttons on a rotation and listen to the add-on callouts. Like, there's a lot of people that mythic raid. Yeah, I mean, but why? Why would you do that? I don't want to. You can't even do heroic properly? Well, why would I care?
I think if you mean probably dedicate himself to it, not really sure right now. Yeah, of course, yeah. I don't expect randomly him logging in and one-shotting the bosses, but with equally skilled players. But yeah, if somebody to try to... I think it would take Asmon probably like a week and he would be completely fine in Mythic. Like, obviously he will fail because he doesn't know the bosses, but anybody would fail to that because they don't know the bosses. Like, gameplay wise, he would just be completely fine. And anyone who has played WoW for so long, like, they'll be able to fit their buttons. It's not a big deal. Okay, maybe he can't play like Arcane Mage on Sarkareth, but if you give him like a somewhat reasonable class, he can, yeah.
Why would I care to do heroic properly? What is my motivation to raid heroic and to do it? Because in my opinion, mythic raiding is the only thing that's worthwhile. Because heroic raiding is more work for less reward. Because you're going to get worse gear than mythic 20s. And that's why. I mean, actually, I was going to say why. That's why. So, like, Mythic Plus is easier. Mythic 20 is easier whenever you average in, like, the longitude or fucking the logistical challenges of getting a raid together and the annoyance of it. And also the fact that, like, you usually can just, like, get no gear. You know, you don't have bonus rolls anymore or anything. So it's like, what am I doing? Clock in, buddy, time to raid. And that's also another reason why I don't want to raid, is like, I don't want to lock my time in on a certain day. Because what if something comes up that day that I don't want to, I'm not able to do it. So Mythic Plus is way more personal responsibility. It is way more personal responsibility. You're absolutely right. But it's averaged out by having such a much lower barrier to entry that it actually becomes easier to do than raiding. And also, the rewards that you get from Mythic Plus, especially from the end of the week, are incredibly fucking good. And it's by far a better long-term investment of time to Mythic Plus raid than Heroic raid. Or Mythic Plus, like, just do dungeons, right? So yeah, Mythic Plus is 30 minutes, exactly. It's not skill, it's time commitment. Well, I think that, like, you have to have, like, a level of skill in order to Mythic raid, but I don't think that level of skill is particularly high.
Yeah, I couldn't have worded it any better. Yeah. Obviously, you need to have brain cells to be able to mythic raid, but it's not that high. Most people have it. I would say like 98% of chat will probably have those brain cells. Maybe 2% doesn't. It is what it is. Unlucky. Like, they can't just do the hand, mouse, keyboard coordination is just shit. It is what it is. But everybody else will be probably fine. I'll do M+. If you can do M+20s, you can definitely do mythic rating. I mean, you won't be not everybody, not 98% will be able to mythic rate at a race war first level, right? That's a completely different level we're talking about. But I mean, but even that, I think a lot of people could if they put in the time. I think maybe like 10% could probably, you know, maybe, you know, maybe even 20% could, but they wouldn't be that good at it. They would just be like the lower end of the rate if they put really, really a lot of effort into it. But yeah, I think it's so easy when Echo players can do it. Scribe 2023. Yeah, it's true. It's true. 2% is like 90% in Scribe's chat. That's true. Yeah, when we're talking about my chat, all of you Giga chats out there, bro, give us 40-man raids, the same difficulty. We're just going to be blasting them through. Like, no problem. Like 10-man personal responsibility, just gaming fully. You know, yeah, you know us. We're gamers. That's a whole different level, dude. I hope they don't design this for us. If they design raids for my chat, ooh boy. That's the, when they say 1%, like designing it for the 1%, they basically mean you guys. Like, just, you know, the stream, the chat here. They could have, it's the same thing.
To the extent that it is high, there are add-ons that make it lower. And there are a lot of add-ons that make it lower. And also, there are plenty of people that mythic raid, and they're not like in the top 50 guilds, but they're going to get cutting edge, and they might get it this week. And I bet people in that raid are garbage. Literal dog shit. But they're going to be mythic raid.
He's not talking about you guys in this case, chat.
They're going to get mythic Sarkareth down. So there's plenty of people that mythic raid that are trash. So what happened to it's too hard? Well, it's very simple. It's too hard for an average player. Does that make sense? So
I don't think it's too hard for an average player to actually, like, if you give them my character and they play it and they do the reading of the guides and stuff like that I do, or that a mythic raider does, I don't think it's hard for the average player either, personally. The average player in WoW is, I think, pretty good at this point. If you're thinking about the average classic player in year 2005, yeah, it's probably too hard for them. Not probably, it is too hard for them. But times change, bro. Everybody's zooming now. Everyone reads 1 million guides per second and watches streams and practices stuff. And I don't know, people are good. I was keyboard turning in 2005. Same, obviously. I was clicking my spells, but times have changed. You know, the average player is way better than what was the case in 2005. So obviously can't expect the same difficulty of the raids anymore either, because that would be too boring. It wouldn't be challenging anymore. Nostalgia would help if you do that, but other than that, if you do a new story that people are not bound to or have any clue about, and you get a raid like Molten Core now in classic in retail raid, no, people are gonna treat it like, what the fuck is this shit? You know, they won't give a shit about it. I mean, if it gives loot, people will do it just to get loot, to do higher and plus or something, but that's it. Do you think that removing add-ons would be fine if Blizzard UI was better and they got better at making fights, in-game visuals as good as Laundress, and that would lead a better game in your opinion? Yeah, for sure. I think, I don't know if they should fully remove add-ons, but I do think they should be restricted massively. There should be a big, big, big restriction on add-ons. I don't know how the UI design at Blizzard is going, but I haven't seen it be like that good. The idea was that Dragonflight will give us this, you know, crazy good UI. I mean, it's not even close to being there at what it needs to be to match some of the quality of life increases that add-ons provide. But if that's done a little bit better, and then they restrict the add-ons just quite a lot instead of fully blocking them, I do think that's possible. Yeah. I do have a meeting in like 5 minutes. So I'm gonna peace out. We didn't finish the video, but I think we got the most of it. And in the meantime, don't forget, guys, you can easily do Mythic. It's just Dirty Blizzard making it into big grinds that is keeping you from it.